Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. In today's Speedpaint I'm actually working on a digital piece, as a lot of you have requested that I do more digital work, and lately I've been really into digital work and digital art. I've been enjoying it so much. I've been waking up really excited to get to the computer and just start drawing, and I think it's because I recently discovered this Photoshop brush. It's the one I'm currently using. I feel it gives my drawings a very organic feel, which I really like, as one of the reasons I avoid digital art is I find it can normally look a bit too smooth for my liking. I like things to look a bit more rough and disjointed and shaky to give it that natural feel. The Photoshop brush I'm using, by the way, is just one of the default ones. I'm not sure how I could show it to you, but it is just in the default settings if you have a look at the brushes. Normally for my work I was using a much more chalky thick brush, which was actually from Loisha's default set I think, and it would give my artwork a very thick bold outline, and it's what I've been using for my comic. But I had grown tired of the way that was looking. I felt it kind of blotted out a lot of details. The line art was just too thick, so I decided to go for something much thinner, which allowed me to play about with details more, as that's what I really enjoyed doing. I do like drawing like creases and little bits of hair, you know, coming off the head, and more detail in the eyes, as that's one thing that brush did, is it wouldn't really let you get a nice thin line for eyes, and I suppose it just wasn't working for me. I also noticed that I would have to go over the line quite a few times before it darkened, or I had to duplicate the layer, which ended up taking a lot of time that I could have used for something else. This brush, however, I absolutely love. I just love the way it looks, even though I have been struggling a little bit lately with like the creases in the clothes and everything. As you probably saw with me drawing that arm, I kind of had to erase quite a few creases that I'd drawn because I'd kind of gone overboard with it. Another reason I don't make a lot of digital art is because I'm worried about how much time I spend at a screen, as I know staring at a screen for a long amount of time is not very good for your eyes. And I'm already quite short-sighted, so I would like to preserve my eyesight as long as I can. So the picture I'm actually working on is a self-portrait for something called Meet the Artist. I'm not quite sure exactly what it's about, but it seems to be making like a little introduction drawing that kind of gives a little bit about you and what you like and everything. So I had a lot of fun drawing this. I actually enjoy drawing self-portraits and drawing myself. That probably sounds really narcissistic, but it's just something I've come to really enjoy. And especially when it gives me the opportunity to draw clothes and shoes. You know, I just love drawing clothes and shoes. Speaking of, I actually really struggled with the shoes on this picture, which is not normally the case for me, as it's something I enjoy drawing so much, and yet I struggled with so much in this drawing. But I eventually got the hang of it. I think I just probably needed a good warm-up before I dived into a big drawing like this. I also struggled with the hand too. You probably saw me earlier redrawing it over and over again. I don't know what it was. Everything I normally find easy drawing, I really struggled with in this picture, but I eventually got the hang of it. I also tried to make the pose quite energetic and dynamic, so I hope that kind of comes across in this drawing. I know I normally draw a lot of sort of still poses where the character might just be standing or maybe sitting down. Nothing that involves movement, which is what I want to try and change in my pictures. So the colouring and the inking on this actually went by really fast. I think it probably took me about an hour and a half, possibly, which is quite quick for me, as I found lately I have been really slow with drawing. Oh, and I did have a lot of fun colouring the skin of this. A lot of people have commented that I have a in real life Tumblr nose, so I tried to recreate that in this picture. I also put a little bit more detail in the hair, more than I normally do, as I usually keep my digital art very simple with either flat colours or minimal cell shading. Actual digital painting is not something I'm very keen on. I'm usually never happy with the end result, so I know I should branch out into doing more soft shading and more different styles, but for now I think I'll just stick with what works for me. And what works for me right now is very simple shading, though I did try and push it a little bit more in this picture by putting textures and more details in the hair and skin. Looking back at this the next day, I do feel there might be some anatomy errors within this drawing. I think it might be the legs, although I did kind of measure it all out to make sure they were all the same length, but one of the legs looks like it's slightly foreshortened when it shouldn't be, but overall I'm really happy with this drawing. I do love those trainers. I am so pleased with how they came out. And this shading, I had trouble with it, trouble finding out what I really liked with it, and I think that's what made this drawing take a lot longer than it should have done. With digital art, it's a lot of fussing about with colour and saturation and deciding whether you want an opacity layer at 56% or 57%. It's so weird how they're such minute numbers, but it does make a difference within the picture, and it ends up taking a lot longer than I wanted it to, but in the end I am very happy with the result. This part of the drawing I think is probably what took me the longest, as I really fussed about with the background for this and the graphics. I had seen so many good ideas that people had done with the background of their little Meet the Artist meme, and I just didn't know what I wanted to incorporate into my own. I kind of wanted it to look like a planner that had kind of been ripped out of like a school page or something. So I tried by handwriting some of the information, and then I thought no, it looked better if I typed it out instead. So I did want to try and keep it overall quite simple, although there was a lot of information I could have added, but I decided against it. I wanted it to look very clean and crisp. So for my likes and dislikes, I have so many likes that list would be way too big. So I decided to just put a few key things, although cats is missing off the likes list. Though you could probably tell that from the amount of cat footage in my studio diaries. I do love cats. Whenever I see one out on the street, it's my mission to make friends with them. As for dislikes, I really don't have that many dislikes. The thing I dislike the most is hot weather, and we are currently in a British heat wave and I hate every minute of it. I do not like heat waves. Britain is not supposed to be hot, it is supposed to be damp and rainy, and my poor plants are suffering because of it. So I'm really hoping for some rain soon. I will admit though, we have had some lovely evenings where it has been really nice to just go out at a walk at about 8 or 9 o'clock and see the sunset. It's so pretty, so I guess that's some good out of this heat wave. But otherwise, train tracks are buckling, there are wildfires, roads are melting, so yes, I would like this heat wave to end soon, please. And before anyone comments, if you think that's hot, you should live where I live. I know other places can get very, very hot, but Britain is not used to it. We don't have any procedures for this kind of weather, so please don't make light of this situation. So another thing that I really enjoyed with this piece was drawing the contents of my rucksack. I don't know what it was just so much fun doing all these little accessories and details. I really enjoy drawing stuff like this. I should do it more often. But I included my sketchbooks and even did the tape that I've decorated with them with. And I included the little paint palette that I made in my pencil case, my phone, and the clip-on lenses that I got for my phone. I was also going to include a lot more, as I do put a lot in my rucksack. I'm usually quite prepared with sunscreen, glass wipes, all that kind of stuff, but I replaced the sunscreen for my glasses instead. So I do hope you enjoyed this video, as we're coming to the end of it. I had a lot of fun drawing this, as I've already said quite a few times before, and let me know if you enjoy me doing digital art, as I will try and do more of it if that's something you'd be interested in. So thank you for watching, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye!